So let's talk about the reading this morning. While Nikki was sleeping, I got up and checked in with the guides because we were trying to see, are we going to stay another day in Assisi? We had not booked a hotel, so it's just a question of, will we extend? Are we going to stay a little longer? What do we do with the gold that we brought? You know, one of the reasons we're even here is because we actually had these gold chains that we got at our wedding. And when the guides told us the guides told us to sell everything, you know, we have these gold chains and we didn't know what to do with them. So that's when we first heard the voice say St. Francis. And the whole time we've been thinking, you know, we're coming to Assisi to donate the chains. 2 chains. And we've been carrying them in a pouch. Nikki's had them in her pouch the whole time, out of sight. And yesterday, we are given several opportunities, right? So Nikki offered them to St. Clair. Again, she offered them to St. Francis at the Basilica. And there was even a point when we were sitting in Mass in the lower church, the Basilica. And they, you know, this is when they would pass the bag around for the offerings. And people were putting money in them. And Nikki and I, independently, we did not talk about this till later, both had the thought, do we put the chains? Do we put the chains in? It's a funny thought, because for neither of us did it feel like the right move. But it was something that popped up. Do you put the chains in the bag and move on? And when I was asking St. Francis about this earlier, he said, be mindful of where you place the chains, where you give the chains. It's not necessarily always the right place. So we said, okay, we'll wait. We'll hold on to them. We'll see what's going to happen. And our plan, or I thought, was going to be, we're going to give the chains away today. Our second full day in Assisi. So we'll wake up, ask the guides, where are they going? And I will say too, when Nikki offered them to Clara, that's when I also got the experience of Clara taking heaps of gold chains off of me, off the ethereal body, which was really just taking off chains of non-power. Things I had invested, untruths that I had invested in as my power. So this morning when I asked the guides, you know, the first guide that showed up was Mary Magdalene. And she was the full presence. And she was just saying, you know, come visit me. And I asked about the chains. And Mary Magdalene said, put them on. You and Nikki put them on. Which was an interesting thing because Claire had just taken them off. But now, Mary Magdalene is saying, put the chains on and wear them and be the ones worthy of them. And when Nikki woke up and I told her that, it created a little trigger. Is that right?
Yeah.
A little bit of a trigger, because these are things, it was not, we've never worn gold, or Nikki's never worn gold. You know, I had a gold church necklace when I was a kid I wore sometimes. But it was like Mary Magdalene saying, put the chains on and be the ones worthy of it. So the fact that that triggered us meant that there was still something going on with that. And so we put the chains on and wore them. And when we went to the Chapella to Mary Magdalene in the Basilica of St. Francis in Assisi. Mary Magdalene just said she's there to support our passage into the next level of consciousness, the next evolution of our beings. And she's just saying to be in love with us. And this morning the guides also said it's time to leave town, take the chains with you. That's the other thing I want to say about the chains. You know, we're asking, okay, where do they go? I'm asking, what do I do with the chains? I thought I was coming here. The whole point was the chains. And they're like, look, you can put the chains in a gutter. It doesn't matter where the chains go. That's not what's important. But the guide said, here's the thing though, stop trying to get rid of them. Stop trying to don't put them in the gutter, because while it isn't important, it's not your power. It's not this thing that weighs you down. That's the point. You're trying to offload them. You're now trying to offload them as if this is your burden. This is a burden that you carry. So wear them and be worthy of them. And in the church, talking with Mary Magdalene later on, one of the things she said was, put down your cross. Put down the cross. Stop carrying the cross. And, you know, the way I was associating with it at that time was put down the crucifixion. The idea that you're bad, that you have to apologize for anything, that you're being attacked, that you're carrying wrongs. And it's the same as put down the burden of the chains. As long as we're claiming these as a burden, we want to get rid of them. Even if that means donation. I'm doing the good thing. My guides told me to bring them and donate. I will say, I don't know if the guides ever told us to actually donate. But when we asked, where do we take these chains? And they said St. Francis, it was assumed you're going to bring them, donate them there. And what actually happened is they told us to put them on. So now we're wearing them. You can see it's on me, it's on Nikki. And Nikki had a gold ring too. She's wearing a gold ring on her wedding finger. We haven't worn rings in a long time. Actually sold our wedding rings before this trip because we don't wear them anymore. But here they're telling us to put the gold on, so we are. And now they tell us to go to Spello, where the Church of Mary Magdalene is, and that's where we're going. So that's the update on the chains. One of the driving forces of this whole pilgrimage. And that's what happened in Assisi. Pretty amazing. I mean, besides the other stuff, you know, we met Maria, a Bavarian lady, and talked with her about talking to spirit guides, which was amazing for her and us because she actually had some contact in the last 18 months, but she lives on a farm and she's alone and she doesn't know who to talk to about this stuff. And so talking to us, it was like getting permission to talk to someone about it and knowing she's not alone. And you know, she was in the chapel last night and we asked, what's the message? What did you get from St. Francis? I'll tell you mine in a minute, but for Maria, the answer that came through was, you're not alone. And she didn't quite understand at first, and then she, you know, opens her eyes and looks around her and here's all these pilgrims that she met on the trip, and she realizes, I've never been alone. This is why I'm here. To recognize that I'm not alone. And she also got that from Nikki and me because we've become much more open about the experiences that we're having, the guidance that we're communicating with. And there's other people out there who are wanting to know they're not alone, who are hearing. And that's the service, I guess. Just being open that this is real, it's happening, and it gives other people the permission to say, okay, I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. And lastly, for me, with St. Francis, I asked, anything you want to say, right? At the tomb of St. Francis in the bottom of the basilica. And he just said, I welcome you. You're my brother. We're one. We are one. He just kept saying we are one. I'm a part of you. You're a part of me. Brother, call me brother. I mean, I can't remember everything, but that's the gist of the information. And that's pretty much the exact same message that Nikki got as well from St. Francis, independent of me. So when she talked to St. Francis, it was just, we're all one. So those are the gifts of Assisi. We did have dinner in a nunnery, a German nunnery, with a bunch of pilgrims we never met. And we were given opportunities for free housing in Salzburg and in Holland. So 2 different groups of people offered us housing whenever we want. So it's pretty amazing, Just, we're not even asking. We're just being handed, gifted, requested friendship and love. And I think that's always the way it is when you're open to it. That's it from Assisi. Back on the trail. Day 21. Thanks.